Okay, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain, amma ba'd. Everyone, welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm honored for the reason that, mashallah, the masjid has a vision beyond just the prayers, beyond just our own, education. We have a vision to tackle one of the major social ills of our time, which is not only Islamophobia, but atheism. Atheism, immoralities, many social ills, unfortunately, society is going through. So atheism is one of those topics that every parent, I'm a parent of 3 children. I'm concerned because of the atheistic, secular, ultra-liberalism, ultra-skepticism the society is. We all should be concerned that how do we protect our children, give them a strong foundation, and how to make them activists. So to make that possible, this program, inshallah, will align towards that. So I hope and pray that what we learn from here, not only we share it with other people, we also practice it. And my humble request that every single one of us, we build on this topic. So there are so many subtopics we will have. Time is not going to give us, we cannot justify the depth of the topic, the breadth of the topic. So it's really important that whatever areas that we are touching upon, especially for the youth and all of us, we build on these areas, doing more research, going deep into it, mastering the topic, sharing the topic. That's the best way we can benefit from today's session, inshallah. And may Allah help us. So I went to New York. We had a masjid open house. In the masjid open house, there were many people who came, about 200 people. So in that open house, there were men and women. Our sisters were there to help out the women there. And in the lunchtime, I approached many of the guests. I asked them the question, okay, you came to the mosque the very first time, you socialized with the Muslims, you ate the lunch, you listened to the lecture, what is the feedback? So one of the ladies, she said, I really like the concept of God that Islam teaches, because she said she's from a Christian background. She used to believe in Trinity, but she has many questions. But after she was exposed to Tawheed, to the oneness, she said, this makes more sense to me. Then I asked her, okay, do you accept other concepts about the 6 beliefs, the 5 pillars, why the Quran is true, why the Prophet is true? She said, not only I understand those concepts, I accept all of those concepts. Then obviously as a Da'i, as a Muslim, our next question can be, if you understand those important concepts, why don't you embrace the faith of Islam? So I asked her that, the closing the deal question. She said, how do I do it? I mentioned to her by reciting the Shahada, after I go through the 6 beliefs, the 5 pillars, and then in front of other sisters, mashallah, she recited La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. As she was reciting it, what came to my mind was this. Just like Sister Janet, there may be literally tens and thousands and millions of people out there who are in the same situation. They're not satisfied with the current theology, the culture, the problem, society, the way of the society. They're waiting for something good, something better to help them out, to answer the questions, and we have it. Alhamdulillah. Allah gave us the blessing. Allah gave us the guidance in the Quran, in the Sunnah. So if we don't convey the message, we are depriving that many millions of people. So Alhamdulillah, right? So atheism is one of those important topics that we should be touching upon, and we should be, inshallah, going deep into it. So today we will cover some of these topics. We will try to do justice and cover all the topics. I will try to make it as interactive as possible, right? Inshallah. So atheism, we will go over the existence of the Creator. Not only using the Quran and the Sunnah, we will also use the current sciences that our children, our youth in schools and colleges, they teach those topics as if there is no God. We can figure out how the world came into being, how humans came into the picture through evolution, how the first came into the picture, how the laws of the universe, we can figure it out. We don't need God. That's how they teach in schools and colleges. So we will touch upon these topics, inshallah. Then an important topic would be the topic of evolution. Science says this. What does Islam say? How do we kind of reconcile what Islam says with science and vice versa? Thirdly, we will go over, there are so many faiths in the world. How can we show, especially to the young people, the youth, that of all the faiths in the world, Islam is the only faith Allah gave for humanity, and why it has evidence, convincing evidence to its truth. Then we will go over how to share Islam, why we should share Islam, and tackle some of the tough questions that youth may be asking, society may be asking, and try to give as convincing responses as possible. Then last but not the least, there would be some of the projects that our amazing masjid, this one here, and all of us individually, what we can do. Because learning should come with action. So there should be action items, all right? In between, you can raise your hand. I can pause the slide. You can ask any question. This is not like a classroom in UIC class, all right? This is our masjid. We are in a safe space. I want to be as engaging as possible. Ask questions. I can pause. I can go into detail, inshallah. This is ours. We are all involved in this, right? You are as much involved, or you should be as much involved as me coming over here. By the way, of all the people who came today for the lecture, I would say I was the very first person who came, all right? Dr. Ahmed would be thinking, really, how can you say that? Come on. Okay, I came here at 10 a.m. for the lecture. Okay. Well, actually 9:30, all right? Let me be more precise, okay, 9:30. And I was thinking today's session would be starting at 10 a.m. Because initially when discussion was going on with Dr. Ubaid and, our Maulana over here, in my calendar, it was 10 a.m., all right? Then when we changed the date, I'm so I just missed changing the date on my calendar. Went back home, all right? Met back my family again. They were surprised. Okay, how come you're back? And then I drove back again. And now when I came back, mashallah, one of the young brothers from the masjid, Jazakallah khairan, he came with me. So I think everything happens for a purpose, right? Alhamdulillah. So these are some of the topics. So for the youth over here and for all of us, what other topic within this main topic of atheism that you want me to address? It's not, it was kind of low, so that's the reason. Yeah, please. So any other topic that you think would also be important, I can write down over here, and then we can come back to that, inshallah. Anything obvious that comes to your mind? If not obvious, in between too, inshallah, we can always, plug that in. All right, should we proceed? Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead.
A lot of Hindus say that they also believe in one God, but their way to approach that God is different than us Muslims. That is number one. Number two, a lot of Christians, they will say, yes, unity is there, but they believe in one God. I would like you to throw some light on that.
All right, so one topic is the topic of Trinity, and second topic is the topic of mediator to approach God through idols, through incarnation of God in Rama, Krishna, all of those, correct? Mediator. Okay, let's see if we can justify and plug in those topics, right? Inshallah. Okay, let's proceed. For when you go to college, when we go to any work, when a contract is done, there is always an assignment, a responsibility given to us. So we need to make sure that what is the responsibility, the status, the dignity, the honor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, which is this one here. Allah has given us the distinction of the best of all the people that He created for humanity. And this is in Surah Al-Imran, ayah number 110. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. And the ayah continues. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, addressing to the Muslims, you are the best of ummah created for humanity. You enjoin good, you forbid evil, you believe in Allah. So the title comes with a responsibility that we are supposed to enjoin good and forbid evil. We are supposed to be the most educated of all the people in the world. That means we should have 100% literacy rate. We should be the best when it comes to morality. We should be the leaders of humanity, actually. And we should be sharing the guidance and guiding humanity against the social ills and towards goodness. That is the status, that's the responsibility Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. If we are not up to par with that status, we should have projects and strategic planning to move towards that status. If we are not doing it, we are not true to the honor Allah has given to us. So that's really important for us. Okay, this is the map of the world. And you may be thinking, okay, Brother Sabeel, why the map is there? If I ask this question to all of you, especially the youth, a delegation came or went approximately in the year 640 from Medina to the people of Egypt to open the door of Islam to them. I will give you a hint. It was in the year 640. Who do you think was the primary person who led the delegation opening the door of Islam in Egypt? What would you say? Amr bin al-As, radiallahu ta'ala. All right? A Sahabi of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the delegation opened the door. And now today we say what? There are 70 million plus Egyptians who are Muslims. A delegation came from Medina, went to the people of Algeria in the year 661, led by which person? I'm coming to him. Uqba bin Nafi, right? Uqba bin Nafi. Then delegation came from Morocco going to Andalus in the year 711, led by this one person. Who was that? Yeah, Tariq bin Ziyad, right? And delegation went out from this region to the subcontinent around the year 711, led by this young person. Who was that person? There we go. Now everyone knows, right? Ahmed bin Qasim. Then, according to some historians, delegation came from Medina again, and Persia went to the people of China, approximately the year 648. Who do you think that person was, the head of that delegation? Saad bin Abi Waqqas, right? According to some historians. Now, so really important, every single one of them, the reason they went out is because when they read the pages of the Quran, they realized, yes, praying 5 times is important. Fasting and zakat and hajj is important. Taking care of the neighbors and the parents is important. And the Quran also speaks about sharing Islam with humanity is equally important. But there are so many ayahs of the Quran. One of them is Surah Baqarah, ayah number 143. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. So the translation is that you are the best of ummah created for humanity because you enjoin good, you forbid evil, and you believe in Allah. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. So we are supposed to be witnesses to humanity. See, the companions of the Prophet, they could be content in living in Makkah and Medina and Arabia, because these are the blessed places. 100,000 times the reward if they pray in the Haram in Makkah. 1,000 times the reward if they pray in Masjid al-Nabawi. But they left those places because they have a higher, bigger mission to share Islam with humanity. For that reason, they went to different parts of the world. And exactly for that reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us to this part of the world. Coming from anywhere, right? Different places, anywhere you can say. And some of us, we are born and raised here, but the same reason, the companions and later on Muslims, they went to different parts. Allah has sent us to this part of the world. This is our primary mission. Yes, to fulfill our primary mission, we have to remind our own Muslims about the fundamentals. We have to remind our youth and make their faith strong. And we have to remind our fellow Americans who is the creator, the guidance, the Quran, the Prophet, and the rest of the concepts. That's our primary mission in this part of the world. Now, I will just speed up on this, right? Because we know that Islam, sharing the message is an obligation. So we have already mentioned this. It's a necessity. If I ask any one of you this question, what do you think sharing of Islam nowadays is a necessity besides it being an obligation? What would you say? It's a necessity, right? So what would you say? What points would you bring in? Yes. Yes, I would say yes. That's a good response. Look at the lack of morality. Society is going, towards all of these. Whatever you feel right, whatever that you feel good, it's okay. Freedom of behavior, freedom of speech. To such an extent, extreme freedoms will lead to all of these calamities, especially when it comes to morality. And we cannot, as Muslims, we cannot run away from the moral challenges that society is facing. It's not the way of the Muslims that if there are fires outside, just to protect the masjid and the home. That's not the way of the Muslims. If there are fires outside, you're supposed to engage with the society and guide the society towards goodness. We cannot run away. How far are we going to run away? Even if you run away to a peaceful place, Allah may still hold us responsible that you're supposed to engage and better the society. If you're not doing it, we are not true to the message of Islam. So anyway, if society is going towards atheism and immorality and drug abuse and homicides and suicides and racism and subjugation of women in the porn industry, you name it, all of these are challenges, and these things are increasing around the world. Definitely in the US. It's a necessity, right? And we have solutions for humanity. We have physicians sitting over here. If they deprive the patients of the treatment and the cure, obviously there would be a lawsuit against them by the family, by the patients, and obviously by the society. So we are spiritual physicians, and we have the solutions for humanity's ills. 2 days ago, I was having a session on this topic, 1 hour session with the sisters, like an online session. And all of them, they were really concerned, and we should be, that, youth, they're going towards atheism, drugs, gambling, and the rest of the problems. I mentioned to the sisters, and hope all of you agree with this. If our youth are over here, and unfortunately, all these ills are increasing, we can have programs for the youth, all right? We can have many programs for the youth. How they can save themselves, how they can tackle these things. However, the root cause of all of these is an atheistic society that is lack of guidance. I mean, imagine if you are thirsty. And then if you are thirsty, if you drink from a pool that has, viruses and bacteria in there and, unhygienic pool, for example, we keep on drinking from that pool and we are going to be compromising our health. We can keep on treating the person but the best treatment would be clean up the water. Logical, right? Makes sense. Clean up the society peacefully, proactively with Allah's guidance. So that is what we need to do. We can keep on having short-time solutions. Okay, this is the long-time solution. Cleaning up the society, right? The reason I want to build a base over here, a foundation, based on that foundation, we will be better able to do justice to the topic of atheism. All right? Everyone on the same page? Alhamdulillah. All right, let's proceed, inshallah. Just for the sake of completeness, these are some of the techniques of dawah. I will quickly run over this. The great mission, Surah Baqarah, ayah number 143, to become witnesses to humanity with the message of Islam. We need to have a parental mentality. That means, every parent over here, in the morning, you don't have to take a pledge next to the bed of your child that today I will be a parent from Fajr time to Isha time. You don't do it, because being a parent is a state of mind. You don't have to consciously, talk to yourself, okay, I'm a parent today, I'm a parent. You're a parent 24/7, 365. It's a state of mind. It's innately within us. Just like a parent mentality, we should have our state of mind should be that Allah has sent us with a big mission to share the message, to share the guidance, to share the solutions. If we do it, a reward. If we don't do it, the consequences. 24/7, it should be within us, and we should be making projects and campaigns around that. All right? People who are dying, they will hold us responsible. We should do it with knowledge. Dawah is not debate. It should be peacefully, with a smile, with kindness, with empathy. We should share the message. We should be the credible people. We should have good communication skills. All right? And Tawheed should be the center. Don't overwhelm them with too much knowledge, and close the deal by inviting them. All right? Any quick question or comment on that? I ran over it in 2 minutes, right? Because we have some heavy topics to cover, inshallah. Any quick question or comment based upon the technique of dawah? Anyone? Okay, simple enough. Let's proceed, inshallah. Okay. Now let's come to some meat of the topic. This is how our society looks upon us. This is the perception of the society towards the Muslims and Islam. In 2021, Islam as a faith has 57% favorable rating, right? 57% of the society, they looked at Islam in a favorable, in a positive way. However, in 2024, that dipped down to 48%. And that's alarming. It's going down. So majority of our fellow Americans, they don't have positive feelings regarding Islam. And that's pretty bad. And then when it comes to how they view the Muslims, 78% viewed them, positively. Now that is also down to only 64%. We complain about Islamophobia. Islamophobia is connected how they see us, how they see the Muslims, and how they see Islam. The unfavorable the rating, there is more Islamophobia. Now, this is connected perception, right? Perception. Perceptions gives rise to actions. If the perception is low, there would be high Islamophobia. All right. However, perception is dependent upon education. Education and positive campaigns from our side. So if we increase this, perception would be high. Islamophobia would be low. All right. But there's a direct connection to this. So if we are going to devise any projects, we need to make sure that projects are there to help humanity. Perceptions count a lot. Before the Prophet ﷺ, even before he went to Mount Safa to convey the message, He asked the question to them, would you believe if I say to you, there is an army behind the mountain? They all said, what? They said, yes, correct. Because they already have a high perception regarding the Prophet. He had high credibility. So that means sharing Islam is not just about sharing there is only one God. It is also changing people's perceptions. So these are some of the projects. I will not go over detail with them, but this also aligns when we have to speak about tackling Islamophobia and atheism. We need to make sure society looks at us with people who are good to the society. They're helping the society, right? They're a blessing to the society. So one project that we can do, this one over here. I am really going to encourage Dr. Ubaid and the Masjid, mashallah, to adopt a highway, to adopt a street. That means you adopt like one portion of the street, you take care of the street, you clean up the street, once a month, once in 3 months. And then what the city does is, it has a sign up there saying that this highway, this street is adopted by the Isa Masjid, Islamic Society of Addison. Imagine if you go out with 10 volunteers, 100 volunteers, and the shirts they're wearing, your neighborhood Muslims, and they're picking up the garbage, cleaning the street. Perceptions change from negative to positive. Dawah is changing perceptions of the people. Then once they start seeing us positively, when we convey the message, they'll be more receptive to us, inshallah. Having free tutoring programs to the neighborhood kids by our masjid youth, changing perception. Somebody is good in nutrition, holding nutritional classes in the masjid, in the public library, in the churches, perceptions will change, right? Mobile health clinic, mashallah, so many doctors in the community. Seniors may need help with connecting their gadgets, right? Wi-Fi and gadgets and iPads. Perceptions will change if the youth can go and help out with them, right? If we give free CPR classes in the masjid to the greater community, in the public libraries, to public officials, firefighters, police officers, public school teachers, other people are charging $50, we charge $0. Perceptions change. Perceptions change. Islam is a blessing to humanity. We have the resources. If we don't do this, if we are still in our silos, society is going where it is going. We have to have a status quo in the society. These are some of the campaigns. I really urge our masjid, all the masajis, each one of us to be part of these campaigns. And many more, by the way. How many of you are part of, how many of you go to schools and colleges? All right, either high school or college. Okay, mashallah. So it's really important for all of you. Take part in the school and colleges, become part of the student council. Okay, number one. Sometimes the school also have like one board member from a student. Become part of that. Become a writer for the school newspaper. Okay, become the editor of the school newspaper. All of these are areas where you can have some positive change in schools and colleges. You don't have to wait until you are 30, 40 years of age to run for a public office or have a bigger impact. Right where you are in your schools and colleges, you can start having the impact. Because Islam is about having peaceful, positive impact. We have something nobody else does in the world. We Muslims, I'm saying. The Quran, the Sunnah, the solutions to make the society better. So Islam is not just about praying and fasting and, mashallah, all the amazing programs. Continue that. Islam is about we showing that Islam is a blessing to the society by doing some of these projects. Right? Any other project comes to your mind, by the way? That's some of the youth over here that you are doing as part of your schools and colleges. Zaid, anything comes to your mind? So when the school starts, I'm hoping and praying that some of you, many of you, all of you, you take part in becoming leaders in your school. Getting A plus grade, having a good GPA, excellent. Okay, do that. But make sure that you also take part in these extracurricular activities. Guys, important. In Northeastern University, I was part of the student council, by the way, right? And I was also the writer. So anytime there is any social issue, at that time, Kashmir was there, Palestine was there, Afghanistan was there, just like unfortunately now, I used to write along with some Muslims. And there was a back and forth regarding, Hindus, what they are saying, I used to write back in a nice way. What Christians are saying against us, I used to write back using the school newspaper. So it's important for us, each single one of us, to go in that direction. All right. Atheism and the social ills. This is especially for the parents. This data is the data for regarding the Muslim students. Regarding the Muslim students, this data is regarding how our Muslim students, how they are getting affected by the social ills. 67% of the Muslims, look at this, premarital, intimacy. That's pretty sad. Tobacco use. 51% of the young Muslim girls, 44% of the Muslim boys, they are doing it or they have tried it. Alcohol abuse. 47% of the American Muslim college student consumed alcohol in the past year. And that's really sad. And these are Muslims. Gambling, drugs, alcohol, premarital, gambling, all of these. It's really sad. So when we look at this data, we can run away and we can try to protect and have many programs for short term that we should. There should be a short-term strategy. There should be a long-term strategy. Short-term strategy is what we are doing now today. Long-term strategy to look into the root cause and to transform the society so we can address the causes that are leading society towards these calamities. If we don't address from both sides, 100 years from now, we'll be coming back over here and these problems will be there, unfortunately. Addressing the cause. That's quite important. So short term and then obviously long term. So what was the prophetic way of addressing the long term solutions for the society? All right, let's take a look really quickly. So the prophet was born in the year 570. So during his time when he was born, these were some of the social ills, as we know, right? Racism, tribalism, oppression of women, gambling and shirk and intoxicants, infanticide. These were some of the problems in his time. So the prophet did not only, remain in the masjid, doing the prayers, reading the Quran, right, engaging with his family. He did all of that, and we should do all of that. However, by positively engaging with the society, before he passed away in the year 632, he transformed the society and tackled all of these social issues. Important. He eradicated all of the social issues using Allah's guidance. So that is our mission. If we are addressing atheism, atheism cannot be addressed just by protecting our youth and showing them Islam is right. We also have to address the society that is moving towards atheism and it's having an impact on our youth. Fine, we address atheism now today. Tomorrow, some other calamity may come in and then we have to have programs for that. But addressing the long term, addressing the root cause is the solution. Not only it's logical, that was done by the Prophet ﷺ. And he's the best role model that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned for us and for humanity, right? 33:21. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. That in the person of the Prophet, you have the best example for us to follow. For those who believe in Allah in the last day and remembers Allah much. So in our day and age, right now, 2025, these are some of the social issues that we are facing. We have to have active resources and strategy so we can, before we pass away, we plan the solutions to eradicate all of these social ills. If we are not investing the resources, we are incomplete in practicing Islam in this part of the world, honestly. I mean, if the Prophet was here in our time, this is exactly what he would be doing, because in his time, this is exactly what he did. As simple as that. So that means engaging with the outer society is as much part of the obligation of the Muslims as praying 5 times a day for the Muslims. Any question or comment on that, by the way? Because if we don't understand that, that means we have not understood our mission for Muslims in the USA. Everyone clear on that? All right, so let's proceed, inshallah, to some heavy topics. All right. This is some of the data regarding the society. So if we have to have a strategy, if a doctor have to go and check the vitals and do the test on the patient, we have to check on the society that what are the problems society is facing. So here is a breakdown. Okay, unemployment and economic inequality. Look at this over here. 60%, like 100 million people, they are unemployed or underemployed. All right. So there is a economic disparity. Homelessness. I think there's more than 1 million people. This is just like a really, underestimate over here. If you go to like any downtown, even Chicago, I mean, I have been to Seattle downtown, right? Just a few months back. Downtown, street after street, you have these small tents. People are living up there, right? On the road, homeless. Poverty, 11.6% in our country here. Substance abuse, 14.5%, 12 years and older. Drug abuse, domestic violence, up to 30 million domestic violent abuses in the USA each single year. What do you think the Prophet would have done if he's in our time? He will have strategy to tackle every single one of them. Right now, let me just honestly let you know, right? I'm part of the Muslim community as much as all of you. If I ask you this question, what percentage of the resources of the Muslim community are invested, like now today, to tackle all of these? For dawah, for example, what percentage that you think? Do you think 60%, 50%, 40%? I know the number, I want to ask you that. Go for it, anyone. If this is our assignment, what percentage of the budget of the masjids combined, I know the answer, by the way, that you think, what percentage are we investing to tackle this? Go ahead. 5%, what if I say less than 2%? That's it. Less than 2%. And then we are concerned about Islamophobia. How come it's increasing? We are concerned about, atheism, LGBT. Concerns are good. Concerns should be translated into proper actions. Muslims are supposed to be people of action. What I'm trying to say is, if we have immense concern and we are protecting our children, making sure that they do homeschooling or Islamic school, away from the public school because LGBT, if you are protecting them, that protection should have a long-term strategy that how do we address the root causes of all of these social ills. So it's important for us. All right. So one of the outcomes of a society unguided is atheism. So let's tackle atheism, inshallah. So this was an ad in UK not too long ago. If I ask you this question, who do you think this person is? Just with that small thumbnail kind of a picture up there. Dr. Hasib, who do you think this person is? The guy there. Yeah, Richard Dawkins. Were you aware of that? No? Richard Dawkins, he's the most famous atheist in the world. Yes, Sam Harris is there and other people are there. Richard Dawkins is the most famous atheist. Since like the mid-70s, he's writing books, debating people, challenging you and me, right? So look at the message they have up there. There's probably no God. Now stop worrying and enjoy your life, okay? How nice message. When you look at it, yeah, you know what? Enjoy your life. That's what life is all about. So how many atheists around the world? Approximately, question, yes.
In the previous slide, they have caricatured there's probably no God. Why did they write there is no God? Enjoy your life.
Well, we have to ask them the question because I think they want to cover as many people as possible, okay? Because 48% of Europeans, they are secular. And for them, God is oblivious. They don't care about God is there, not their secular society. So he's taking all of them into account that if you're thinking that way, that maybe there's no God at all. Just, enjoy your life. This is it. But it's a calculated wording, by the way, just to let you know. Because if they say there is no God, it may turn off some people. When they say probable, it opens the door. Maybe, may not be. Even if it is, okay, fine, just enjoy your life. Means, enjoy what you feel is right. Approximately 1.2 million atheists and agnostics in the world. And you may be thinking, atheist what? Agnostic what? I'm coming to it, inshallah. So atheism means, in Greek language, the word for God or deity is theos. And A is the negation. So if you add A in front of theos, it becomes atheos, no God. So atheism is the study of lack of belief in God. So that's where the word atheism comes about. Simple, right? Like la in Arabic, negation. La ilaha illallah, no God but Allah. And this is the spectrum. Over here, you have zero belief. Over here, you have full belief. And all of these are in between. Agnostic, deism, pantheism, panentheism, and quickly the definition of each one of them, okay? So you have atheism, there is no God. It's not about probably, no, they're saying there is no God at all. That's the atheist. And there are hardcore atheists are not that many, but now they are, the next step for them would be agnostics. Believe that we cannot know whether there is God or not. So they're not denying God, they're not saying there is God, they're saying our science is not like developed enough. We cannot, by experiments, we cannot figure out there is a God. Maybe there is, maybe not. Even if there is God, it's not knowable. We don't know it. Deism means that there is a creator, but he's not directly intervening in the world. He created the world and he left it on his own. So these are the deists. Then you have theists, Muslims, Jews, Christians who know there is a God and he's active in the world, in the universe. Pantheism means that God and the universe are the same. Kind of Hinduistic belief. They take almost everything to be God, like, the cow, the monkey, the mice. They have a mice temple in India. I'm not sure if some of you know it, correct? They have the milk for the mice, big sculpture of the mice, all the mice, they come up there. Panentheism. God is greater than the universe, but it includes it. All right, so these are some of the beliefs. And then you have the incarnation of God, which faith, belief in the incarnation of God on earth. There are 2.2 billion followers of that faith. Christianity, right? So they say God became a human, and Hindus also believe to some extent that God came down, Rama, Krishna, Vishnu, right? Hanuman, and so many other entities. Okay, this also is important. In the past, See, you have heard maybe about new atheism or the new atheist. So if the current atheists are the new atheists, the past atheists are the old atheists, what is the difference? See, in the past, before 2000, like before 25 years ago, these were some of the prominent people. They rejected the faith, and for them, they were quiet about it. Philosophical debates, right, within themselves, intellectual debates, academic debates. They saw religion as outdated, but they were not challenging the religion. That's the point. These were the old atheists. The new atheists would be after 2000, right? After 25, just 25 years ago, these were some of the prominent ones. Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, okay, he passed away. Richard Dawkins, as we say, one of the most prominent. So they actively critique and attack the religion, especially Islam, and also to some extent Christianity. Aggressive, confrontational, uses the media, spread ideas, that add on the buses, new atheism. Popular books and debates, calls religion as harmful, dangerous, want it to be removed from the society. So these are the new atheists. So if you hear the word new atheism, that's what it means. All right. I want to give you a glimpse.
Where do they get the money to advertise?
Well, since the society is becoming, so the question is for those who are listening online, where do they get the money? I mean, society is becoming secular. About 7% of the society is atheist, and maybe 20, 30, 40% of the society, they're agnostics. Even the Christians who say they are Christians, many of them are secular. So they have a big database of millions of people who may resonate with this kind of ideology. So let's take a look at Sam Harris. I want to read this statement just to give you a glimpse about what the atheists, what they think about you and me. So he wrote down, okay, he wrote a book over here, and he wrote down, what will we do if an Islamist regime which grows dewy-eyed at the mere mention of paradise ever acquire long-range nuclear weapons? If history is any guide, we will not be sure about whether or where the offending warheads are or what their state of readiness is. So we will be unable to rely on targeted conventional weapons to destroy them. In such a situation, the only thing likely to ensure our survival may be to nuclear first of our own. Needless to say, this will cause unthinkable crime, and it will kill millions, tens and millions of innocent civilians in a single day, but it may be the only course of action available for us, given what the Islamists believe. They don't care killing our millions to safeguard their ideology. This is what they think about you and me. It's not just about they deny God, they want to eradicate the rest of us. So atheism is not just about protecting our youth about, okay, there is God. It is also challenging this kind of ideology, this kind of thinking. And Sam Harris is not like a French person. He's one of the mainstream atheists invited by the media. And this is what he's saying, that they should nuke our Muslims. Even if tens and millions of them die, so be it. They don't care. That's where they're coming from, unfortunately, right? All right, this is the distribution of atheists around the world. The green, okay, so they flip the colors, by the way. The more the green, the more the atheists. Like, say, China here, Australia. You can see the percentage here, right? 75% of Chinese. You have Russia. Canada is going towards atheism, right? Europe is heading towards it. And America too, right? It's kind of in the middle over here. Protected are the Muslim nations here. We are living over here. Either we move there or we change the society for the better. There's no other option. The third option is, if not our children, who knows, our grandchildren, Allah protect them. That's all I can say. Only those two options for us. Okay, questions, comments as we move, inshallah. These are some of the prominent atheists and agnostics around the world. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? The most, or one of the most prominent physicists of the last 50, 70 years. Like the most prominent physicist after Einstein, I should say. That kind of a caliber, right? And he was an atheist agnostic person and other people. What I'm trying to say is what our youth look up to on the social media, CEOs of companies and scholars and physicists, some of them, maybe many of them, they are atheists or agnostics. So if they are having an influence on our society and on the Muslims, then we need to see that how we can challenge their ideologies, all right? Question or comment before we go to Biology 101, all right? Back to the college. Okay, so far flowing okay? Fine. First break is as soon as I see Maulana Salman with the food tray. Okay. Or we smell the food coming from somewhere. Okay. Because in the break, we will have lunch, inshallah. Maybe you can check with him. I mean, I don't mind having the break right now and then flowing the break into the lunch, but we don't want too long of a break because we have some good topics to cover, inshallah, right? You know, there are people online too. Sometimes I forget that they are here. If you have any questions or comments. Sure, sure. You can also open the camera here if it's not open. Is it open here? Can they see? I mean, like me, if they want to, it's up to. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah. So when is the break, by the way? When is the food coming? Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay, but I mean, we want to accommodate everyone. So sure. Yeah. Jazakallah khair. We had a 1 month class about atheism and leadership and communication skills and dawah skills for 1 month in a masjid. It's a new masjid, Dr. Obaid. You have been there, right? Unity Islamic Center. And there were about 28 students up there. One of the students is sitting over here, okay? So one of the students, he asked me the question that, in the school, they teach biology to such a convincing way that the cell came about by itself, okay? They teach as if the first cell came about by itself, and the first cell, it had mutation, and then natural selection, and then the process of evolution happened. And then from this evolution, you have all of these different species all the way to humans. In the textbooks, they teach in such a convincing way, it appears as if there is no God in the picture. We don't need any God in the picture. All the physical, the chemical, the biochemical laws, we can figure it out. So if our youth are exposed to this kind of thinking, and if they're not strong in their faith, it appeals to them that maybe what science is saying is right. And this is one of the causes of atheism. So Zaid, I wondered who asked that question. Okay. So can you connect the dots, right? Because I mean, I went to school and college over here. This is how they teach. They say that in 1954, was it? The Uri Geller experiment. They produce amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks. So in the test tube, in the lab, they produce amino acids. And they say if these are the bricks of the living beings, that means we have created the very first step for evolution. Wow, that sounds so convincing to people. They don't realize that the experiment that they did, it was flawed. It was not the same way the Earth was 3.5 billion years ago. The gases in there, the lightning, the amount of gases, the percentage, the whole thing, it was not replicating the environment. Number two, in living beings, every single amino acid is left-handed as they come together, okay? But over here, they were not. And they don't say that mutation, natural selection, there's so many gaps between here, between the species. They say that a cat can become a dog can become a horse, but the physiology, the proteins which are needed, the anatomy that need to change, all of that, mutation is a blind process. It cannot have a nice structured way to produce a species from a lower species. So the whole thing is flawed, but they teach in a really convincing way. Okay, fine. So what evidence can we give from biology to convince ourselves and our youth that the first cell cannot come by itself? Okay, let's go to that, inshallah. So here is my premise, all right? A human cell, okay, a human cell is well designed and complicated and full of information. Neither humans nor nature could have designed the first human cell. Human cell points towards a higher power. Who is the creator? In Arabic, we say he's Allah. So here is the premise, the build-up, and the conclusion from here. All right, so let's go step by step, inshallah. I am assuming that each single one of you were sent a PDF file. Have you? Have you received it? No? Yes? No? Is there a PDF file regarding this in your email or in your WhatsApp group? No? So this booklet or this workbook has the whole thing what I'm going through, right? But the next thing you can do is just take good notes, okay? Take good notes, and then when the PDF file comes in, you can transfer the notes into the file. Second thing could be, almost all of these, we are selling the book on Atheism up there that has all of these up there, all right? And other books too. Okay, so let's build up on this, inshallah. Suppose if you go to a nice family area of Evanston Beach, all right? If you go there, you will see the ripples on the sand, and the ripples on the sand is because the water has touched the sand so many times. All right, that's the reason you see this. But imagine you go there the next day and you find out that there is a marking on the sand that Abdullah was here with the family and he had a good time, right? That date and that year. When you see that kind of marking on the sand, are you going to say that nature and the water and the wind created that? What comes to your mind? So who do you think would have made that sign if you see something like that on the beach? Someone with intelligence. Okay. So this is information. Information only comes from intelligence. That's the premise. If you see information anywhere, information comes, there has to be some intelligence behind the information. What do I mean by this? If you see a computer code, there is someone who wrote that code. If you see some letters and a pages and book, you know there is an author behind it, because this is information. Rosetta Stone, radio signals, right? This is information. If there is information, that means there is intelligence. So here is the neat part, right? You may be thinking, come on, Brother Sabeel, how is it connected to biology? Here is the way. If we take a look at a human cell, okay, in the humans, there are close to 20 trillion plus cells in the body, right? That's a big number. So if you take a human cell, This is the nucleus of the cell. In the nucleus, you have 20,000 plus genes. If you open the genes and write down the information in the gene, right? Okay, genes are the ones, it's like a computer chip. It's a computer within the cell. That's what the computer is running, like a Tesla car, okay? For example, it has a computer in it. You can program the destination there, the temperature control, how fast the tires would be moving, right? The whole thing is controlled by the computer in the Tesla. So this is the computer within the Tesla, within the cell. When the cell is going to divide, the hormones, the proteins the cell is going to produce, the cells coming together to form organs, organs coming together to form the human body, all of that is there within the genes, and the genes are there within the nucleus of the cell. So if you write down that information within the genes in the form of a book, you need 900 pages. You need 900 pages of books to write down that information. And each book is not like 2 pages, okay? 500 pages each book. That's how much information is there within one single cell. Ain't that amazing? Wow, look at subhanAllah, that much information within every single cell. So what was the premise? When you see information, what is behind information? Intelligence. So if you see that many books, like, more books over here, there has to be an author behind the books. And that author is not humans, it's not nature, it is the creator of the nature, which is Allah himself. So that is a proof and evidence that when you study the science of biology in school, it points towards a higher power. All right? Before I open the floor for questions, which I am going to do soon, is this. There are thousands of universities, literally maybe thousands, maybe millions of researchers around the world with the latest technology. All of them combined together, they cannot make one single cell in the lab. They cannot make one single cell in the lab. If they cannot make one single cell in the lab, how can they assume that nature, without any tools, produce the very first cell? Make sense? But suppose, okay, here is a challenge to you. But suppose if tomorrow there is a big news saying that the Harvard scientists, they produce the very first cell. Humans, right? In the lab. Then what should be our response? Do you think our theory is defeated? Yes or no? Why? There you go. You still need intelligence to make the first cell. Okay. If God, yes, or humans, yes, not nature. See, according to science, nature made the very first cell. What we are trying to say is, no, it's someone with intelligence who made the very first cell. If humans were not there 3.5 billion years ago, the only intelligence entity there was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. So the science of biology points towards a higher power. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, question, comment before we move on to biochemistry. All right, that one is even neat, by the way. This one is neat, that one is neater. Question or comments? Guys, any comments from you guys? Is it straightforward? I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, right? For every grade, those who are 50 years of age, 80 years of age, or teenagers, I'm saying, okay? Everyone, inshallah. Yes.
So that's the process. to get to the first cell, that just happened. That explosion did that just happen?
Yeah, they say the first cell just happened.
Yeah, so that,
What we are trying to say is first cell could not have happened by itself. Yeah, so their argument fall apart. See, for evolution to be true, the first cell has to come by itself. So the first step of evolution falls apart using this data. The rest of the steps of evolution also fall apart. I mean, I have a longer slides on evolution. We won't have time for it. But all the missing links they have, the amount of proteins, the physiology has to change, anatomy has to change from species to become a different species. That's not possible using just science and nature. It's not possible at all. Every single step is not possible. So every step falls apart. That's what I'm saying. Not just the very first step. All right, let's come to the second neat way of showing to people. All right. Now, here is the summary of the argument. You have a city, let's say city of Chicago. What we are trying to say is a cell is like a small city. But the cell is more complicated, more efficient, and better designed than any city in the world or any structure in the world. It's better designed, more complicated, or more efficient. You know, when I drove from Skokie to here, so many potholes, right? Come on. You know, so much garbage sometimes around it, inefficient political system, economic system, so much wastage. You know, cities are in debt, wastage is there, inefficiency is there. A cell is better designed, more complicated, and more efficient. So that's the argument. How do we justify to it? Fine. Let me say it this way, inshallah. So when I came here with my parents, all right, so this is me arriving at the airport. O-R-D, right? O'Hare Airport, all right? When I arrived here with my parents, me and my parents, we had some documents. We have a visa with us. And the Homeland Security, they let us in because we had some documents, legal documents, right? That they accepted. Then my mamu was there who sponsored us, and then he took us in his car. All right. And then we sat down and we went on a highway. I believe I forgot. Highway, let's say 294. And then we arrived. So he had the car and GPS. And we arrived home. The weather was a bit cold, April kind of. And he opened the switch and then heat came. And the next day, it was Wednesday, the garbage collecting truck came, and I was thinking, you know, who are these people? And my mom said, you know, these are garbage, they come once a week. And then he took me to downtown. In the downtown, I saw the full flavor of the city. What I described to you right now, all of those things are happening within one single cell. All right? Amazed? What I described to you, my journey is happening inside the cell. You may be thinking, how is that possible? Let's take a look. The cell has a cell membrane. Only those proteins that has the proper visa documents, they can come inside. The rest, they cannot come inside. So cell membrane has a homeland security in it. All right. Then, so that's a port of entry in the cell.
Just make it
Oops, of course. Sorry, so the food inshallah is going to come in about 10 minutes. Just a quick announcement for the sisters. For those who want to ask questions, there is a microphone on top of the table towards the front, which is on top of the blue table. So please make sure to use that. And on our side, we'll be able to hear any questions you have, inshallah. Sorry for not communicating that earlier. Please do, again, there should be a microphone there on the table. please do use that to ask any questions you want.
Also, the people online, how would they ask questions?
You probably have to ask through YouTube. And if anyone online has any questions, please post it on the YouTube comment section, and then we'll bring it to Dr. Sabeel's attention.
Sure. So the cell has a port of entry, okay, important. And then there are highways within the cell called the cytoskeletons, all right? Imagine highways in the cell. I don't think they're congested as much as dandelion, but they are there. Then there are semis roaming around those highways. And those cars on the highways, they have a precise GPS system. They pick up the passengers and they drop the passengers. They take the passengers, they drop them at the proper precise place with the proper GPS system within the cell. All right. Then the cell has a garbage collecting people, okay, called as the lysosomes. Okay. Dr. B, this is like biology 101 from medical school, long time ago, right? Osmania, long time ago. Then, many of us, we go to Amazon.com to order, all right, telephones or gadgets or, anything else. And then they package it and they send it out and then we receive it. So within the cell, there is a packaging, just like the packaging, that's called the Golgi apparatus. And then they package the goods and they send it out using the vehicles to the proper customers within the cell. And then just like there's a power plant that powers, all the heat, the AC, there's a power plant within the cell, which is powering the rest of the cell called the mitochondria. So the cell is more complicated, more efficient and better designed than any city in the world. So for any city to function, it needs intelligence. So what intelligence is there behind the functioning of a cell? It cannot be nature because humans are needed to make a city. Cell is better than any city. So it cannot be nature. It has to be intelligence better than any human intelligence. It's not nature. It's not humans. It has to be the creator of the whole universe. And we say that is Allah. So using biochemistry, we can say that there is a higher power. Question, comments. I hope this is simple enough for all of us to understand, right? Yes? So next time when you go back and take biology, biochemistry, even if the teacher is trying to convince you that we can figure out the whole thing, no, they can't. There's so many gaps. They're pushing those gaps, and all the uncertainties under the rug, they're not sharing it with you. They are just sharing as if all things are coming about neatly, we can figure it out. No, they can't. It's impossible. The only explanation is that there is a creator behind the whole process. All right, question, comment. Easy to understand so far? Fine, inshallah, let's move on. So just to wrap up, right? Taj Mahal, the pyramids, the Sears Tower, the Eiffel Tower, and I forgot, what is this called? The Greek Coliseum, or what do you call it? Colosseum, okay, fine. All of these are human structures, and we can also include an iPhone in there, right? The cell is more complicated and more efficient than all of these structures. That's amazing. That's amazing information. Alhamdulillah. All right, let's go to one more, right? You know what? Let me go to something neat, right? Let me go to something neat. Then we will come to this, inshallah. Let me open up a slide. How many of you have taken physics? Somebody helped me in the before. Where is the brother who helped me? because I'm trying to see if I can. Sorry, you did something which was good, So I can see here, but they're seeing only the some small portion of them. You can minimize this, inshallah.
Just to hear such a. There we go.
Jazakallah khairan. All right. Okay. Just with the raise of hand, any one of you have taken at least one course in physics? Oh, mashallah. So I can pick on you guys. All right. Okay. So what I would say to an atheist is that the branch of physics points towards God. How? I will ask them this question. The universe that we are living in, the universe, is it finite or what is the opposite of finite? Infinite. Some of them, they say it's finite. So finite means it began to exist. At one time, there was no universe, then it came into existence. So what we can say to them is, anything that begins needs a beginner. And the beginner is none other than Allah Himself. All right, so anything that begins to exist needs a beginner. For example, the pen which I'm writing up there, it cannot create itself. It came into existence, let's say, 2 years ago. So that means there was a manufacturer, a designer of this pen. In the same way, if the universe began to exist, it needs a cause for its existence. It needs a beginner for its existence. We say that beginner of the universe is the creator of the universe. In Arabic, we say Allah. Easy, right? Simple. But what if they say that the universe is infinite? All right. So infinite means, like suppose we are here, 2025. In the past, there is no beginning to it. It is infinite in the past. Okay, so it's infinite in the past. Clear? Fine. So here comes the second law of thermodynamics. All right. Who knows the second law of thermodynamics from physics? Yes, Zaid. Entropy, right? Okay, very good, mashallah. So second law of thermodynamics. It says entropy. Entropy increases. And you may be thinking, come on, what is entropy? Disorder increases. Disorder always goes up. Okay? Entropy means disorder. Okay, so simple example is, suppose if no one takes care of a building next to the masjid, okay? Suppose there is no caretaker to it. In about 10 years, 50 years, 500 years, it will not be in the same shape of there. Suppose nobody's taking care of it, right? The spider web would be there, it will be dark and, rodents may be there, paint may be peeling off. From order to disorder, right? Simple. So that's entropy would increase. So what the physicists, what they say is, if long time passes in the universe, it will be in a state of total disorder. Okay? The whole universe. It will be in a state of disorder, and they call it as the heat death. So the universe has heat in it. All the nuclear fusion and the fission going on in the sun. All the chemical reactions in the whole universe. The mechanical reactions in the whole universe, they all have expiration date to it. Okay? For example, so when I brought my coffee in the morning, from 10 a.m. by the way, right? It is still, the thermostat is pretty good. But I cannot, suppose if I wait the same coffee till tomorrow, it will come to the room temperature, right? The room temperature. That means all the heat, it dissipated. It became normal. It became equal. The same thing will happen to the whole universe. All the heat is going to go away. The mechanical energy, the chemical energy, the physical energy. That means once that happens, no action is going to take place in the universe. You and I will not be walking, the sun will not be there, nothing would be there, no action will happen. That only happens if long time passes. Are we in that state right now? Are we in that state right now? Go ahead. I mean, we are here, right? So we are not in that state. That only happens if long time passes. Okay. Now, according to the atheists, long time already passed. Because they say the universe in the past, it's infinite, correct? That means long time already passed. If long time already passed, right now, we should be in a state of heat death. Since we are not in the state of heat death, the past is finite. If the past is finite, that means the past has a beginning. Universe has a beginning. If it has a beginning, it needs a beginner. That beginner is the creator or Allah. Are you able to understand? Yes? Yes. About what?
That's what they say.
Yeah. They say either the heat death or the big freeze. All right. You can Google this, the big freeze. That means big freeze, right? Nothing happens at that time. No action, no motion, mechanical, chemical, nuclear, no energy would be left. That only happens if the universe is infinite in the past. We should be in that state right now. Since we are not, the past is not infinite. Yes. Yes, so the comment is like right now, the universe is expanding, right? These are all the dots, it's expanding like this. If we go back in time, the universe will come together under one point. And the universe began 13.8, they say, billion years ago. If it began to exist, it's finite. If it's finite, it leads to the creator. So using physics, what I'm saying to you, especially the youth, yes, science is wonderful, but God is in the picture of every single branch of science. That's the point I'm trying to share with all of you. And all of you, because this is a neat argument, by the way. Are you able to understand this? Yes? You guys in the front? Okay. So let's end with quickly design in the universe. All right, design. So we went over design in the cell, in the body. Let's go over the fine tuning and the design within the whole universe itself. Okay, let's go it quickly. All right. When I came here, 10 a.m. in the morning, the lights were on, fan was running. Some kids were, mashallah, they're doing their hips or Arabic, teaching was going on there. So somebody prepared the room for us. So the temperature is right. Everything is in the place, the chairs, the mic, the whole thing. It did not happen by itself. So somebody did the right setting so we can have a good program today. In the same way, when you look at the whole universe, everything is in the universe is set to such a degree that human life can exist. Okay? So what do I mean by it? When we look into the universe, the distance of the earth to the sun If the distance was shorter, it will be too hot for us to exist, for any living being. If it's further away, it will be too cold for us to exist. So the distance between the earth and the sun is precisely measured by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wow. When we look at the amount of oxygen in the earth, all right, quick question, right? Especially the youth. What percentage of air that we breathe is oxygen, and which gas is the most abundant gas in the air? What would you say? Yeah. Nitrogen is, it is most, right, in the air that we breathe. Okay, what percentage of that is oxygen? How much? Yeah, about 21%, right? But suppose if the amount of oxygen that we breathe is much more is not better, by the way. And if it's less, it's not good either. So somebody set the dial of oxygen, precise amount of oxygen on Earth, so we humans and the living beings can survive. Somebody did that, right? Let's take a look. This is going into much more detail into particle physics. In the atoms, you'll have the protons, the neutrons, and the quarks, and all of that. The mass of all of these is precisely measured. If the mass was less, if the charge was less, if the charge was more, the subparticles would not come together to form atoms. And the atoms would not come together to form molecules and the human body and the human species. So somebody precisely measured the right charge and the right weight to the subatomic particles. Coincidence? Cannot be, right? In the sun is converting the energy into matter, right? The hydrogen converting into heavy metals. This is the precise amount that is converted each time. If it were less, no heavy metal, no rocky planets like Earth, that means no life. If the conversion rate was more, no hydrogen, no solar system, and no life. Somebody precisely measured the right percentage of the reaction going on in the sun. All right. The rate of expansion, if it were faster, that means the planets, the galaxies would not clump together. If it were slower, the whole universe would fall on itself. Somebody had the right fine-tuning in the universe, so the whole structure of the universe could be there for life. The gravitational force, right? What is the gravitational force, guys? 9.8 meters per, is that how you write it? Okay, close enough, right? So this is the gravity, right? Suppose if the gravity was less, we'll be flying off, all right? If it were more, we may be crushed on our own weight. So somebody set the right amount of gravity on Earth. Okay, so let's just, electromagnetic forces out there, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, all of them are precisely measured by somebody. Nature could not have done it. So, in conclusion, right? In conclusion, if you take all the constants in the universe, the expansion, the gravity, the conversion rate of the sun, the amount of crust on the earth, everything combined together, for it to happen by chance, it is 1/10 to the power of this many zeros. By chance. But according to mathematicians, anything 10 to 50, this is impossible. And this is what we see in the nature. This is more than impossible. If it's impossible for universe to come about with this kind of all the fine tuning, if the universe could not have done it by blind chance, it has to be someone outside of the universe who set the universe in such a precise way that we see life in it and we see the rest of the design in it. And that entity is none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right. All right, I'm going to pause over here. Any question that you have based upon what you heard so far or anything else, feel free to, inshallah. And we have the first question. Okay. Oh, online question. Okay. Okay, how to balance dawah with the company, like being influenced rather than influence other people? Okay, that's a good question. What's the balance we can have? I mean, first and foremost, we need to realize the responsibility that Allah has given to us. Once we know the responsibility, we take our time, we invest the resources. Really important. You know, for someone to be a medical doctor, and I'm going to ask Dr. Obaid over here, how many hours, not hours, years of care, years by the way, not hours. How many years from preschool all the way to fellowship? Approximately. What would you say? How many years that a person like you may have spent? 24 to 27 years of life to become a specialist, to become a doctor. If we as Muslims can spend that much time, why not spend, if not equal time, but at least some significant amount of time to align with the responsibility Allah has given? To learn about Islam, to learn about dawah, to learn about Islamic solutions to social problems, to learn about different religions out there, to package our message. If we can spend literally 3 decades of our life so we can earn a good living and just share the wealth with other people also, why can't we invest maybe 5 years, all right, of our lives? Doesn't have to be everyone goes to like become an alim, by the way, but we can invest our resources and we can invest our time in activism. So first and foremost, we need to have that as a state of mind. Then obviously, you know, how to become influential compared to influencing. So in the beginning, I mentioned, suppose the sister is or online, if you're a younger person, take part in becoming a student council, you know, member in your college, in your school. Become a writer or an editor of the school newspaper, right? Become an activist in your school. Open organizations, clubs in your school, not just benefiting Muslim, but doing, you know, enjoining good, forbidding evil. Suppose if in the school, there are some people who are not getting good grades, maybe get the MSA together, those who are good in algebra and pre-calculus and, you know, trigonometry, you guys can start tutoring those people. As simple as that, right? Start influencing. Perceptions will change. People will become more receptive. So from the get-go, from day one, as you land, you know, August, September, back to schools and colleges, you can become influencing. Then as you become older, you can do exactly the same at your school, in the community, in your village, in your suburb, inshallah. Yes. Maulana, is the food here? Sure, sure. You know, because that question is done, we can.
Do you have another question?
There are 3 actually.
Yeah, actually, okay. Yeah. So how about the food just came into the front? Inshallah. One of the benefits of getting food late is that you can eat it fresh. So they're just setting up. It's going to be quick serve, inshallah, burgers and fries. And they're going to take it to the sister side. So we just have like just 2 more minutes, and then after that we could, inshallah.
Yeah. Oops.
You want to answer these, or you want to?
Let me see how. Let me see. Will my actions do anything? Because I have tried. I wish they all have good writing. Okay. I wasn't able to change anything. Family says wasting time. Yeah, let me just address that, inshallah.
Yeah, I wrote it.
That's your writing.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, let's go with that.
What do you have to say about the Big Bang?
Oh, okay. Okay, so we have about 2 minutes before food. Okay, what about the Big Bang Theory, right? The Big Bang Theory right now is the primary model of how the universe began. And they have a lot of evidence for it. when people see the red shift from distant stars, they know that the universe is expanding, or the stars are moving away from each other. In 1963-64, there are two physicists, cosmologists, that won the Nobel Prize because they discovered this background radiation, which is constant. And the only way for that to happen is the universe is expanding. So there is a lot of evidence for the expansion of the universe. And if you go back in time, like, for example, if you have a balloon, and then you take the balloon, if you draw some darts on the balloon, and if you blow the balloon, and the balloon is like this big, and then if you slowly take out the air, as the darts were expanding when you're blowing, if you slowly take out the air, the darts will come together, the balloon is going to collapse on itself. And then that's the beginning of the universe, an analogy, right? So there is ample evidence. Okay, so the Quran says in chapter 21, ayah number 30, the translation is this: do not the unbelievers see the heavens and the earth, they were joined together, and Allah set them apart. So there is some evidence in the Quran. I'm not saying that use science for the Quran. I'm saying is, of the many interpretations of that verse, one of them fits the Big Bang theory. Okay, alhamdulillah. All right, we can take a break.
So
inshallah.
just a quick request from the brothers is that please have a seat on the dasarkhan, on the table spread, and inshallah the food will be brought to you, inshallah. And for the sisters, we're about to send over the food.
So later on,
Just
we
give us
can
1
have
second.
what they call the
And you
video, if they
inshallah,
can
please
watch
set up
me, is better for engaging. I'm saying,
dasarkhan
right?
over there on that side.
If possible,
And
yeah.
The burgers
How
will be
many
there.
people are there? Just curious. 2, 3, 5, 10.
I saw max. I saw was 7 or 6, 7. So
And if they have any questions, they could.
okay.
Yeah, inshallah.